Hi guys, Sean Z90 here. So I'm not gonna go as in depth as I did in my last video because I went to like 20 minutes long and didn't realize it, and there was a lot of ums in there. So let's get straight to the point. I changed my name legally to Sean Christopher, which is cool. It's changed on everything. It's changed on my birth certificate. It's changed on my medical insurance cards, stuff like that. And the cool thing about New York State, and I don't know if you guys' states are like this, but the cool thing about New York State is when you get your name changed, uh, and you go and get your new birth certificate, they completely like shred the birth certificate at like a town level and county level. And then when it gets up to like the higher levels, like state level and stuff like that, they keep it, but they keep it sealed. And you have to go in with a court order to be able to get your original birth certificate. So that's like that person doesn't exist anymore, pretty much, because it's sealed. Okay, so I went in to change one of my medical insurance cards to Sean Christopher, and unfortunately, I couldn't just call the company and be like, "Yo, can you switch this?" like I could the other ones. Um, I had to physically go in there and like show them my new social security card and stuff like that. So I go in there and I hand them my new social security card and I said, I got my name legally changed. Can you change it on like all the records, stuff like that? And the guy that was working with me, the first guy, he was like, um, why does your gender marker say female? And I'm like, because I was born female. And he's like, you can't have that changed? And I'm like, I can. I'm like, I can't yet. I'm like, unfortunately, my medical insurance wouldn't allow me to change that yet without the risk of coverage being just completely denied for surgery. And he's like, oh man, that sucks. He's like, I'm sorry that I had to ask you that, but I literally had to ask you that in case you're my supervisor asked me and stuff like that. I had to know what was going on. I'm like, no, it's fine. Um, the second person that I worked with, because I had to get two cases changed, the second person I worked with she was very nice and everything. I just went in there and I'm like, I got my name legally changed, and it was in the same office. And I'm like, I got my name legally changed to Sean Christopher, and I got my social security card here, and they told me just to bring the social security card and you guys would change it on my records. She's like, okay. And she changes it. Like, no questions asked, she just changed it. So I don't know. It was the same office, so I'm guessing that they like talk to each other and stuff like that, and we're like, hey, don't ask this question, I don't know. But I got some bad news for you guys though. Last time I talked to you was like in March, or not March. Screw that. It was like May or June, not March. And I told you guys that I was gonna get my top surgery scheduled and stuff like that. All I had to do was quit nicotine and lose like 5 to 10 pounds. Well, I got some good news and some bad news. I went from 245 pounds to 229 pounds, and I went from that to that in like 4 months. When I was in April, when I went up to see him, I was 233 pounds, so I was just under enough to be able to get the top surgery and stuff. I took a nicotine test, and all the nicotine was completely out of my system. I was off of it for 12 weeks. I was only supposed to be off of it for 8 weeks, but I was off of it for 12 weeks. And then some personal stuff in my personal life started happening, and I used that as an excuse to go and start smoking again. So, and I'll tell you how that happened. Not only did the personal stuff happen, but also I called my primary care physician because I needed a note from her. Now the thing is that every doctor's different, right? I need a medical note and a psychiatrist or therapist note, excuse me, for surgery, for medical insurance coverage. Well, I completely missed the mark there. and thought it was a therapist and the psychiatrist that I needed. No, I need medical and the psychological. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I called them and I'm like, hey, can you write a note for surgery for me? Well, I don't know who the people who my surgeon talked to in my primary care physician's office, but she had no idea that they needed a note from her, and she had no idea that they even called her, and there was a miscommunication somewhere there. I don't know. So I went in because she wanted to see me again before I wrote the note. Well, I missed an appointment, so I had to wait till later in August to go in. At this point, I was completely like stressed out of my mind, and my mental health got really bad. Like, I felt like I wanted to die all the time. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to start smoking again and completely, screw up everything that I've been working for. That wasn't my train of thought, but that's what happened. So I started smoking again, and I haven't been able to quit yet. And, I need to be off of it for at least 19 days to be able to just get it out of my system, stuff like that. And the reason I have to go off of it is because of anesthesiologist and anesthesia and stuff like that. I have to go off of it because since I'm overweight, they have to like pump more into me anyway. And when I smoke, they don't know how much to pump into me, so I could like wake up in the middle of the surgery or something and it just wouldn't be good. Or I could screw up the healing process, stuff like that, just because of the nicotine. So you try explaining that to parents that just want you to have it done, right? You can't. You can't explain it. They don't listen to you. Just put it that way. They do not listen to you. So my mom's like, why don't you just quit for a week? They'll never know. Okay. They will never know. All right, Mom. Okay. Yeah. They will know. They will. So I have to quit for like 19 days. Unfortunately, everything in my life is not going the way I like it to, and I'm a very controlling individual when it comes to trying to control situations in my life. Okay? So, yeah, I screwed it up. I screwed up top surgery. All because I started smoking again. And the thing is, I don't know if they even got the note for surgery yet. I don't know if they got it from her yet, because they had to send it to like a place for medical records or something like that, and then they had to send it from the medical records to the office because it came along with a bunch of releases and stuff like that. Like releases that you sign because of the HIPAA law, stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know if they got it yet. And I'm too chicken to, like, call up there and be like, yo, did you get it yet? Like, because what am I supposed to say if they ask me, did you still stop smoking? No, I didn't. So, it's just a bunch of what ifs that are going on in my mind. So, meanwhile, all that stuff is going on. Meanwhile, I push a lot of people out of my life. My best friend happens to be one of them, and that's a whole different story, whole other story than, the stories why I push these other people out of my life. If you guys know me in person, or if you don't, I will tell you, I'm a very, very super caring individual. And when I care about somebody, I tend to get involved in their life a little too much and try to help with every aspect type thing, like trying to, out of protection, and it got to the point where it was affecting me on a personal level, and even though it had nothing to do with me, so I decided, hey, maybe I should, get these people out of my life, that type of thing, and that's why I did it. So, meanwhile, all that's happening, I talked to my sponsor. I'm in a self-help group, okay? So I talked to my sponsor and I was like, hey, what do I do? Like, I screwed up top surgery, and he's like, how'd you screw up top surgery? I explained it to him, and then he's like, did you get your driver's license yet? And I said, no. And he's like, have you signed up yet? And I said, not for a third time, no. And he said, well, since you screwed up top surgery, which I doubt you did anyway, but since you are not getting that yet, how about you put the effort into getting your license? And I said, okay. So I scheduled my licensing test and stuff like that. And I called the place that did my 5-hour course. And I said, listen, I got my name changed. It is no longer this name. Now it's Sean Christopher. I went to the DMV. They told me I need to talk to you about changing it. Well, they need to talk to the DMV to see how they can change it. So now I'm currently waiting for a phone call from them, telling me how to do this and all that. And, so, yeah. So, I have a test, yes. I have a test, and it's scheduled for, actually, it's scheduled on the same day as my 18-month anniversary from being clean from everything is, and I'm not going to give that date because, like, I don't want to screw it up. So it's coming up anyway. It's coming up pretty fast. It's in like a month. And I've been practicing a lot for it. My Kasha's dad is actually taking me out to do a lot of driving and stuff like that to get me ready for this test. That way I actually pass it this time. Which I'm super excited about because maybe he can help me pass it, you know? So, and I realize I'm saying a lot of ums and I apologize, but, so I have that test coming up. Also, my mental health got to a point to where I had to go into my doctor and be like, listen, you need to help me. Like, I need some of my medications adjusted, something. You know, my depression is really bad, so he adjusted it for me. He adjusted it, and he made sure that it's going to work for me and stuff like that, so I'm feeling much better. I don't feel as crappy as I was for like 6 months, and I think it'll get better. And I've just made a lot of changes in my life and everything, cut a lot of people out of my life that were not exactly affecting me in the best way possible, just because I get too involved. You know, it's nothing to do with them, it's me. And that's something I had to come to terms with. So, yeah, I will let you guys know about the top surgery thing as soon as I find out. But most likely I screwed it up, which sucks. It sucks really bad. Don't do that. You know, don't screw it up. If you're that close to being scheduled and stuff like that for a life-changing surgery, don't let anything stop you like I did. Okay? It's just going to put it off longer and you're going to feel worse. It's just not good. Just don't do it. Do what I say, not what I do. Okay? Okay. Other than that, I will talk to you guys later. If you have any questions or anything, put it in the comments section below, and like and subscribe if you're not. Alright, bye.